Crash. A shocking scene right here on the Hudson River. All 6 people on the tourist helicopter were killed, 3 of them children. Gio's going to have more here on that. First, our chief investigative correspondent Aaron Tursky is on the scene in Jersey City. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning to you, George. A family of 5 visiting New York from Spain and the pilot were all killed in the crash of this sightseeing helicopter, which broke apart in midair here over the Hudson River on the New Jersey side. The worst helicopter crash, the deadliest one over the Hudson since 2009. This is the moment a sightseeing helicopter plummeted out of the sky and splashed into the Hudson River.
Be advised, we got reports, multiple calls for aircraft down.
One witness said it sounded like gunshots in the air before pieces of the chopper broke off and dropped into the choppy, frigid water.
And I heard some crackling, looked up, and I just see a plane falling apart. The tail came off, broke off, and then the plane just tumbled into the water with the propeller still in the air.
I saw the helicopter. It was just coming down in that 45 angle, and they went straight into the water. It was a big splash.
You can see the helicopter tumble toward the river, parts flying off before the fuselage hits the water. A second video shows the propeller coming down after it.
Oh my gosh.
I heard very loud sounds. I thought it had to be gunshots. It was that level loud. And when I looked out my window, I saw a helicopter falling into pieces. It all happened in seconds. It was just shocking to me how close it came to hitting something here.
This video believed to be from inside the same chopper, a 21-year-old Bell 206 flying over the Hudson in September. It was on its 6th flight of the day and had taken off from the heliport at the southern tip of Manhattan just before 3 in the afternoon and headed north.
At 3:08 p.m., the helicopter reached the George Washington Bridge and then turned again to fly south along the New Jersey short line. Shortly thereafter, the aircraft lost control and hit the water just a few feet off the coast of Pier A Park in Hoboken.
The flight lasted all of 17 minutes.
Battalion 1, rescue. Rescue, bring in a basket over here. We have a victim.
Police and fireboats racing to the scene, finding the helicopter upside down and nearly submerged.
4 victims were pronounced dead on scene, and 2 more were removed to local area hospitals, where sadly both succumbed to their injuries.
Augustine Escobar, an executive at the international technology conglomerate Siemens, his wife and their 3 children, ages 4, 5, and 11, were killed, along with the pilot, who was 36. The operator, New York Helicopter Tours, told ABC News, "We are devastated. My staff hasn't stopped crying." Overnight, crews began lifting the wreckage from the river.
Without the rotor system or without the tail boom, and especially with both, there is no possibility of flight. The skids were pointed up, so it was rolled inverted. Helicopters will do that without their rotor system.
The main body of the helicopter has been recovered from the river, but other pieces of it remain in the water, so divers are going to return this morning, George, and a team from the NTSB arrived overnight to begin investigating. George?
Okay, Aaron, thanks. Let's get more on this now from ABC News aviation analyst John Nance. John, let's start with the helicopter. What do we know about it?
George, this is a Bell 206. It's a Jet Ranger, and it's one of the most ubiquitous helicopters in the world. Very, very safe record, and it's a workhorse. It up and down all day long, especially for this company.
What do you see on the video?
What I see on the video is a helicopter that basically has disintegrated in flight, and the most critical element is that they lost the rotor system. That's what holds a helicopter up, is the rotor blades through the main hub, and when that goes away, you've got no control.
So there's nothing the pilot could have done?
Absolutely nothing. Once that departed, he was along for the ride.
So what advice do you have for people who are thinking of getting on helicopters like this?
I don't think there's anything to really worry about when you look at the overall safety record of helicopter operations and sightseeing, whether it's Grand Canyon or Hawaii or New York, is usually superlative. There's nothing here that indicates that we should have some renewed caution.
And thank you, John. Thank you very much. I want to get more on this from GR Transportation correspondent. We see these helicopters over the Hudson River all the time. How common is an accident like this?
So a crash like this is very, very rare, George. And as John just said, you know, if a helicopter loses an engine, those rotor blades, they can actually auto-rotate and they can land safely. It would be a hard landing, but they can land. In this case, that rotor system just flew off. So this really was not a survivable crash because this chopper just fell. We looked at the numbers here, and since 1977 in New York City, the AP says 38 people have died in crashes. There was a crash in 2018. There was also another crash in 2009. But if you're going on one of these tours, ask questions. Don't be afraid, especially how old is that helicopter?
Very smart. Okay, Gio, thanks very much. Rebecca?